Okay, so now for example number 3. So let's write that down. We've got example 3. There's 2 parts to it. I'll do the first part, part A. We have x squared equals 121, and they want to know what x equals. In other words, what number, when I square it, equals 121? Now remember what that notation means, right? So 2 squared is the same as 2 times 2, which is what? 4. 3 squared means I'm going to take 3 and multiply it by itself 2 times. That's what? 9. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Sorry, that looks a little goofy. 5 squared is 25. 6 squared is 6 times 6, which is 36. Okay. I got a question for you. What about negative 6 squared? What does that mean? You're close. That means negative 6 times negative 6, right? What's negative 6 times negative 6? Yeah, it'd be positive, right? Because a negative times a negative is a positive number, right? So that's still a positive 36. So in other words, 6 squared is the same as negative 6 squared. Oops. Which is 36. What number times itself equals 121? Yes. 11. So we know the answer is 11, maybe. But now we're going to use some algebra to find out. So what is the opposite or inverse operation of squaring? Does anybody know? So this right here we call squaring, right? What's the square root of 9? 3, but do you think it could be negative 3 also? Yeah, it's negative 3 also, right? And so why is it both? Well, it could be positive 3 squared, which is equal to 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. Or if I say negative 3 squared, that's equal to negative 3 times negative 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and then when you multiply a negative times a negative is always positive. So whenever we take the square root, a lot of times you guys will focus on the positive one, but now as we're entering into algebra and pre-algebra concepts, we're going to think about the positive and negative answer. So what I want to do is we're going to do the inverse of both sides, right? So I'm going to take the square root of this side because that undoes the square. And whatever I do on one side, I got to do to the other side. Now, the square root and the square are inverses, so they undo each other. And I'm just left with x. However, on this side, I'm going to have a positive and a negative solution of the square root of 121. But somebody earlier said that the square root of 21 is 11. That's our answer. Now, how can I double check this? Huh? Google? Is that what somebody said? No. I'll show you how. Pull up your calculator, put your calculator turned on. I'm going to go real slow because this is what I want you to see is some of the buttons. So it took us a while to find that answer. Obviously, I'm teaching it to you, but you could do it real quick on the calculator. So if I go to second home, when you turn it on, so if you do not have this screen on your calculator, this is called the home screen. You could get to the home screen, see where it says quit. See how the word quit up here is in blue? See where I'm pointing? You guys see that? It's the mode button. If I hit second and mode and then hit enter, it takes me to this screen. Now, if you got a bunch of math there and you want to clear it out, guess what you do? Hit the clear button. Okay? So, as soon as you have a clear home screen, hold that up so Mr. Adams can see that you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, raise your hand. I'll come around and show you how to do it. Everybody got a clear home screen? You got a clear home screen? Okay. All right. So now let's take the square root of 121. So see this button right here where there's x squared? See that square root symbol in blue? Do you guys see that? How do you think I put in the square root button? Second. I'm going to hit second, the blue button. Now on your calculator, it might actually be, no, it's blue as well. Some of the calculators, they have a different color, but that's okay. So second, and then that. Do you guys have that on your screen? And then you just enter in 121 and hit enter. Okay. Now your calculator, just like what we've been teaching you in math this whole time, focuses on what we call the principal root or the positive square root. You have to know that it's positive or negative. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. I'm going to take a little sketch of this. I want you guys to kind of sketch this on your notes. So I'm just going to put this in here. Kind of proof that that is